Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So, since William Barr took over as the Attorney General, we've witnessed some of the most blatantly corrupt actions ever taken by the United States Justice Department. But I have to say, this latest BS is probably the most outrageous. If this goes through, this is going to cost you and I money. But that's not even the most outrageous part of it. So you may recall that a judge recently agreed to allow a defamation lawsuit against Donald Trump to move forward. I reported on this not too long ago. The case involves a popular Elle magazine columnist named Jean Carroll, and she alleges that Trump raped her in a dressing room in a department store back in the mid-90s. Well, Carol also claims that she still has the dress that she was wearing, and it contains Trump's DNA, and she said that she never washed it after that incident. So Trump could easily prove his innocence. All he has to do is provide a DNA sample. An innocent man would gladly do that, right? They would want this whole matter to be behind them, handled quickly, so they could get back to work, so they could prove their innocence and that they've done nothing wrong. And as Dr. Phil always says, he who has nothing to hide hides nothing. Well, obviously, Trump has a lot to hide, because instead of providing this sample, he's fighting it. He's not only providing a DNA sample, he's also fighting against sitting for a sworn deposition. Two things, by the way, that Bill Clinton had to do. Bill Clinton, in the case involving Monica Lewinsky and her famous blue dress that contained Bill's itty-bitty swim team, he provided a DNA sample. He also sat for a deposition. But Trump is taking it even further. So in addition to fighting against the DNA sample and the deposition, he has gotten his criminal attorney general, Bill Barr, involved. So on Tuesday of this week, Barr's Justice Department filed documents in the Manhattan Federal Court stating that when Trump denied Carroll's allegations, he was, quote, acting within the scope of his office as President of the United States. Really? Therefore, they claim that the judge should, quote, substitute the United States for President Trump as defendant. Oh my freaking God. So according to news reports, what they're trying to do would remove the case from the New York State Court where it's currently being prosecuted, and the case would be moved and overseen by a federal court. Now remember, Trump and the Republicans have spent years stacking the federal courts with their conservative Trump cult stooges. So that's one of the reasons they appear to be doing this. But their federal lackeys may not even be needed because, according to legal experts that weighed in on this move, if it goes through and they get their way, could kill the case entirely because the federal government can't be sued for defamation. So if Trump is no longer the defendant and the federal government is, it literally just destroys her case. It's done and over with. And if they get their way and it still moves forward, it also means that lawyers from the Justice Department would be required to assist Trump in his defense. They essentially become his personal attorneys. The Justice Department that we fund, the lawyers whose salaries we pay. In other words, we're now responsible for Trump's legal fees to help him fight charges of the now third rape allegation against him and one of almost 50 sexual assault allegations that he has against him. This is the most obscene and completely illogical argument I think I've ever heard. It's insane. And Barr's lawyers also made the argument that US government employees enjoy a certain amount of immunity from being sued due to the Federal Tort Claims Act. I'm sorry, but was he president when he allegedly raped her? Was he acting in his official duties as president when he allegedly pushed her up against a wall and violated her? And let's say he was. Let's say he was president when this happened. The Supreme Court just ruled, a month or two ago, that Trump can in fact be investigated even as a sitting president of the United States. There's no reason he can't. The guy spends the majority of his time on his freaking golf courses, where we also cover all of the expenses for his trips, where we pay for him to fly to his facilities, where we pay for Secret Service to protect him, and we pay for all of their food and lodging, which puts money in Trump's pocket. Can you imagine if Bill Clinton pulled this shit when he was president? I am no Bill Clinton fan. I 100% thought that he should have been removed from office after what went down with Monica Lewinsky. I believe that character is the most important consideration of all for a president. If you don't have character, if you can't even keep your word to your wife, how ignorant do we have to be to believe that a man who would stand up in front of his family and friends and take an oath and commit to someone in front of God and everyone else and claim to be faithful, and they can't even do that, but they're going to be faithful and honest to the American people? So yeah, I've believed 100%, and to this day I stand by it, that Clinton should have been removed from office for not only having sex with one of his aides, but lying to everyone. But imagine if Clinton had refused to provide a DNA sample. Imagine if he had refused to sit for a sworn deposition in that case, and then told the American people that they would have to foot the bill to defend him against allegations that he had sex with Monica Lewinsky. Imagine. Oh my freaking God. The right would have lost their ever-loving minds, more so than they already did. They would have been at the White House with pitchforks and AR-15s. They would have physically removed him from office. So essentially, William Barr is the new Michael Cohen. I would love to ask Bill Barr, how did it work out for Cohen? How did it work out for him and his family? How did it work out for everybody else who gets involved with Trump? The Paul Manaforts of the world. Everyone who gets caught up in Trump's force field ends up crashing and burning. They all go down eventually because they're willing to commit crimes to make him happy and to keep him in power. Personally, I cannot wait to see this smug SOB lose his license to practice law and to watch him carted off to prison for the rest of his miserable existence. He is absolutely beyond the pale. It is vile. This is the same guy who also covered for Bush, who also made his unethical and illegal activities in his administration go bye-bye. This guy has a long history of protecting Republicans after they commit crimes. It's so disgusting. I cannot even believe what is going on in our country. This is the kind of stuff that makes me want to vote for Biden. I have to tell you, if people want to win over progressives like me, people who are registered independents and who have been on the fence and really don't know what to do, this is not the way you go about it. This is the way you push people to vote for Biden, to get rid of the criminal activity. So Good job. Anyway, guys, as always, like, share, subscribe. If I hear any more about this, I will let you know, and take care of yourselves out there. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.